Observer's log. Fair warning, just want to put a disclaimer before we get into this episode. This episode 8 was probably one of the heaviest episodes I've Star Trek does this every now and then, but there's a lot of stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
Me and my partner, Eric Berry, Trekkie B47, I'm Jay Clark.
Hey.
We're your observers. We're going to try and we're going to review the episode as we do. And
Sure.
I just want to put a little disclaimer because there is so much in this episode. I don't know what all we will touch, and I don't know what all we won't touch.
Right.
And I don't know what might trigger someone or what might, who knows? There's a lot of potential for that within this episode. So just wanted to put that fair warning out there before we get into it because excited and didn't just want to send off the wrong energy at first as we get into that. With that being said, welcome. This is from 60,000 Lightyears, a Star Trek podcast where, yes, we are your observers. We generally go through every iteration of Star Trek. And currently we are enjoying Starfleet Academy as it is airing. Just finished episode 8. You already know what it is.
God.
Red alert. Whoop, whoop. Oh, God.
Well, first off, I'll say we called it. We absolutely called it.
This, okay, yeah, we called it. Great. Like, yes.
We called it. We called it like 90% there.
Yeah.
And they threw in some curveballs. So I think that, and some might say, well, if you called it that early, that's lazy writing. That's predictable. I'm like, no, that's good writing because you're starting to see, like, it's the mystery buildup. Wait, why is the doctor so hesitant? Like, he should be excited. This is a fellow photonic being. And why, like the mysteries of why. And she keeps mentioning these things and we're just like, what is the doctor's deal? So you start speculating. We were this close. We were this close. But for them, as soon as they started scanning his, I know I'm jumping all the way ahead.
Yeah, so
okay, so
because we get a little frazzled sometimes. That's because we are excited. I want to try and attack this character wise in a little bit.
Okay,
I think that's the best way. I think we can slightly organize. So let's start it this way, because it's the one thing we truly knew going into this episode. Hey, it's the Tilly episode. We knew Tilly was going to be in one episode this season, and they dropped this, the shots before. So we all knew going into this episode that this was the Tilly episode. So let's start with Tilly and Starfleet Academy, sir. How'd you feel?
First off, I will say that we know from the epilogue of Discovery, where it takes place in the future, that Tilly is one of the longest term serving tenured professors at Starfleet Academy. It was such a joy to see her again for me because she was one of the most interesting characters to me because you could see her growth throughout the series. And she was optimistic and it did annoy people, but she was masking, and we talked about this in Discovery, our Discovery review.
She as Ake said, you were there where they were just a little bit ago. That she has lived this journey, and she was that other early kind of in Discovery a little bit as the young cadet. So yeah, we've seen that journey for sure throughout her tenure.
And so for me, it was just a pleasure to see her back. And I know that there was rumors of her being a regular, and obviously because of filming schedules, she might be a regular in season 2. We don't know. But they explained her absence because we already knew Starfleet Academy existed during the burn because it was on the traveling ship.
We had questions about that. How, what were they related? We answered some of those in the preview, and
yes,
I think this helped give a little bit that they are existing. We don't know how yet.
Yeah,
in a way, but yeah, they're considering it in a way. Yeah.
So and they explain it away, saying, "Oh, she's taking." I love this little detail. She said, "I'm taking the
third years."
The third years. And that's the third year. So we know the time frame between the end of Discovery because she was starting up her version of. So that so it doesn't invalidate anything that happened in Discovery. She's just with the Academy, but basically a different branch of the Academy.
They're out in the field. This could
They're
be
out in the
actual.
field.
This could be a la Red Squadron in a sense. This is the training shit. They're out. That's what your third year is. We out the classroom now. We actually in space physically, long term. You getting a sense of this? Yeah, I'm fine. That could work for me. We'll get more in the future if we need be. Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
And I also love the detail that she's a theater instructor because infamously, Mary Wiseman is from the theater background.
Okay, pause on Tilly real quick. Let's address that aspect in this
Sure.
whole episode because, as we have commented before,
Yes.
Starfleet Academy is meta as fucking away.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
and there is no more episode that proves it than this one. And such like this is so you take a real. I didn't know it was real. I had never read the play. I had never heard of the play at first. So
I had never
apparently,
heard
I
this
didn't know it was
play
real.
before either.
Apparently, it's a apparently it's one of them high school classic
Oh,
types of joints. I've
I
saw
was never a theater kid in high school, so I don't
a
know it.
little bit, but like it's just that it was never one of the ones we got into our curriculum. But apparently, it's
Sure.
big. So I was like, okay, cool. So you take a real play.
Yep.
Star Trek, as we know, was very tropey, theatrical in its own way. Hell, you had plays in TOS. Hell, you had Robin Hood and TNG and plays and all
Yes.
types of things. This is very Trek.
I mean, they had Shakespeare. I mean, they were always quoting Shakespeare and
Yes,
everyone,
as a lot
Macbeth,
of people
and
wanted to
yeah,
hear more of. Apparently, they want that Shakespearean talk in Starfleet Academy.
right.
So yes, to take this play, talk about the show, low-key in a way do the play through the show, and addressing issues throughout. Like there's levels that this thing is working on. Like my God, like to
So
craft that in that
yes,
way.
so I will have to take back an earlier criticism that we discussed because previously we were like, why are they going back to normal after the events of this? I think it's time. It was time for them to breathe because if they put this episode right next to the thing, you don't see the events of the last episode where they're dealing with issues that happen. And then you could reference, like, when they start talking about marriage, and then, my fish boy already has that
That was
regret.
like yeah, it was
It's
like
like
that was his little
building.
thing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm glad that we could see them have kind of a screwed up spring break, and now the tensions seem more natural because they're allowing that story to breathe.
I still have some criticisms. I think I'll save those more for the
Okay.
overarching thing.
Okay.
But sticking in this episode, I think here's where we can get back to Tilly. Pause back into Tilly.
Yeah.
I loved how because it was I had fears coming into this episode that it's the Tilly episode. I had some concerns. I was like, how is this
Correct.
going to work? Number one, I loved how it's the Tilly episode, but it's not in any way, shape, or form. It's not like she's there, but it's really she's not a focus of the episode. She is a character in the story.
Yes.
Applause. Two, she brought the best of Discovery. Those things that we hated about Discovery, some like that emo-ness that we hated, that just got on our nerves about Discovery, because it was like, we're going to stop the action to do this. They brought the best of that and made it work for this story, but I think that's also what it made it work.
Because
Bravo.
I really like that this focused on moving characters forward and using the 2B plot structure that Star Trek has always done to move these character arcs forward in a single episode. I looked at the runtime before this episode. Besides the premiere, this is the longest episode. It's 63 minutes.
I think honestly, I think they could have pushed it about 10 more. I think you give me 10 more of
Right.
really a couple of these moments, just a couple, like maybe two
Sure.
scenes with each story. I think giving us a little bit more time with some stuff. Yeah, but they definitely, as you have said before, made full advantage of the time with this one because you did a lot for a lot of characters. Again, kind of that Deep Space Nine
I
character.
was just thinking Deep Space Nine, and I feel like when you compress a season, when we went from 20 to 15 to 12 to now the standard 10, because it's on streaming, and that's always been my thing, you don't have to stick to the standard 40-minute.
Yeah.
So we can let these episodes breathe. We can make them feel. So that's why in my last my last review in the last episode, I was saying, why didn't we get those cut deleted scenes? Because there's
Yep.
no restrictions, and it might have made the story broader. And I feel like, to me, I'm completely satisfied with the runtime, but I could have had another 10 minutes, like
Yeah.
you're saying. Like, I just like the lived in. I loved all of the character arcs and the pairings, and I just, there was real conversations here. And we'll talk about it because there are two big quotes. This episode hit me. I'm not to go into personal details. I have had, second to my father passing, this has been the most emotional roller coaster week of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I push through it, I keep going, and here we are at the end of the week, and everything's fine, and everything has worked out. You have to keep fighting for yourself. And this episode hit me hard in multiple levels.
So let's stop since we're still on Tilly.
Sure.
That
I'm just
first
excited.
No. I'm with you. I said this is me trying to
Yeah, we're bringing it down.
trying to keep this
Yeah.
focus. So because
Yes.
I'm sorry, we were all over the place last week. It happens. But that conversation between Tilly, Reno, and Ake. Let's stop there for a second between the three of them because I think there's a lot of components to this episode. And one of the things they're doing with, I think, as we talked a little bit before, is this generational thing. And
Yeah.
so I kind of like how in this moment here we get the older generation, the adults, as the quote unquote representing the priors, and that older experience that we talk about that as we kind of get there now ourselves. It's like, okay, yeah, we're a little we've been through this, we've taken some hits. So we recognize the signs and we've gotten through some things. I love the interaction between the three of them. Like it's different perspectives. Again, like the whole hug between Tilly and Reno, it's discovery. But it works in this setting. Like I
Yes.
love that they are having this moment because even in the way, like the thought hit me on one of the rewatches. It's like, yes, these are technically three old ass characters. You've got
Yep.
Tilly and Jet Reno in pre-TOS times, from
Yep.
pre-TOS times, and Ake, who's already lived 400 years. They know the good. They know the past. Like it's like the past is their good old days, like good old days,
Yes.
like far away, like when the far from these times that we're in now. Like for that, the good old days, they've lived it, they've experienced it, but they're
But you
still.
also have the fourth character of the daughter who connects with Ake on the same level.
Yes. And so they're not just previous generations. They're generations with spans of knowledge. Like we wish we had folks now who have been around that long to an extent. Like
But
a century if we lucky now.
also the thing that I like about the entire message of Starfleet Academy that's emphasized in this episode is that it doesn't matter how long you live or how much experience that you have. You can still learn something and you can still grow.
Messages all throughout. Let's move on to Tarima as the next major character because we get these
Yes.
Tarima's back, and instantly this brought back again Deep Space Nine vibes. The siege of AR 558.
Oh,
and
man.
it's only a paper moon. Same because I got a little pissed off because I saw somebody tweet and. Well, I want to praise this episode, and I love it. Somebody was like, "Oh, it's great! It's the first time Star Trek is really dealing with some trauma and dealing with." And I want to be like, "Pause! This is literally the same setup of what Deep Space Nine did between these two episodes. You had the siege of AR 558, which we see
Yeah.
young Cadet Nog, or is he ensign or something? Whatever. Young Nog in Starfleet
Right.
go through some trauma, and then an episode later, or 2 episodes later, we get the
Yeah.
episode in the middle, and then another episode. He coming back, and literally that episode is dealing with his trauma about the incident 2 episodes back.
Like, are we forgetting what Star Trek has done? They're just
Like
doing a classic story in a new way for this setting. This isn't new for Star Trek.
now they're doing it great here.
They're
They are
doing it amazing.
and
Yeah,
because I will say yes, that's just Nog. That story is just Nog's story. Whereas versus here, you're dealing with trauma on
a different level.
whole like a bunch of. So I will give him credit for that, but this is not the first time this has happened. Like let's
Right,
cut
right.
this out. Like please.
I just want everyone to do me a favor and just rewatch all of Star Trek. I know it's a big deal, but like I am going to have to rewatch certain episodes because of this, and I will enjoy doing it because I love Star Trek, and this is the 60th anniversary. I will rewatch these episodes and get a whole new context for this episode.
Sounds like a self-feeding cycle, you say, but more on that in a little bit. Let's stick back to Karima.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
You know what? She's not helping her case. As I said last week,
I know, I
got on
know.
my she got on my nerves this episode. They told us and didn't show us enough for me to believe the angst that she has. You walking around like and talking like people are viewing you like a monster. I don't get that sense. You get some odd looks when we see you first come back to the academy. You then complain again, like I said, everybody's looking at me weird. No, you literally were just sitting in class with Caleb, who had that goofy ass smile on his face when he saw you coming back, and you giving him the cold shoulder about 3 or 4
Yeah,
times.
yeah. I think it was more when I was rewatching this. I think it was more the fact. I think more of the trauma was hung up on she was forced to go into the academy instead of the war college, and because of the safety issues. And I think like I'm not disregarding what you're saying. I think I saw it in a different way. They gave us a little bit of that setup because, she sees the looks. We hear someone giggle in the background, but think of this. This is someone who is now paranoid. So that person could have been laughing at a joke that her friend told, but in passing, she thinks, oh, they're laughing at me. And I think it's that. I think they're, because we see it from her perspective. So I
Also,
think
she's
it's a lot of
Betazoid,
it. She's in her head too much.
and she could be getting these signals that I think we aren't getting necessarily as nice because she's
Telepathic.
Yeah,
Or
she who
empathic.
knows what she could be getting.
Right.
I It wasn't more on that. Or when we get to some of the because
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, she wasn't helping her case here.
I agree.
I could still be okay. Yep, you could go at the end of the season. I'll be sad. Like, thank you for your service of helping everybody out, but your time has come. Because she kind of got on my nerves.
And this is where we're seeing things flip. Because I agree with you. It was annoying, but I'm also trying to give her the grace that she was in a coma. But at the same time, you see Caleb reaching out and trying to apologize. You see his growth, and then you see her
Descent, kind of. They almost
descent.
flipped in a little bit because
Yeah.
as when they introduced, she was there for him in a way. Literally
Yep.
pulled him down from as he was sitting on the fence.
And I see the looks on Caleb, and it breaks my heart because he's trying to do everything to be sensitive, to give her space, and she's knocking him down at every turn. And I was so glad when he rejected her when she was drunk. I'm like, thank God, dude. That showed to me that he went from rebel badass to, hey, this good life is rubbing off on him, and now he's becoming more the person that Nala wants him to be.
He's not the same Caleb we got introduced to, and yes,
No.
this show is all over consent in a whole bunch of ways, which I ain't mad at. I will say, as much as the character got on my nerves, as as good as the job as they captured the older demographic, it's the same thing here with the younger demographic. Like I'm like, yes, like that's
Yeah.
we all know a lot of the generation feels this way about a bunch of things, especially right now. Kind of the burn and the COVID pain. Like, but these things that have happened in their lives that they've shaken their roots, changed the future. Like, they're the allegories that they are throwing in here while still low key beating you on top of the head with it. Because they're this episode is almost shouting at you, but it works. I feel like they captured that young angst, that young fear, that this is a future that we weren't prepared for. We don't know what's coming, and even the older side of it, like yes, this we recognize this is a new future because it's not the world we grew up in. That's not the one we were prepared for. But at least we had the previous kind of experience. Like they're capturing a lot of viewpoints here, and there's so like I said, I just see so many stories and parallels that people are bringing up on different social media platforms about the pieces that they're picking up here, and I think that's one of the most things I've enjoyed online with this episode is just seeing the different takes that the fandom has had and where they are resonating with. It's that's what makes this enjoyable to me. Like, yes, get your piece, get your piece, go ahead, get your piece, get your like. Is you finding something great? As a Star Trek fan, that's all you really can hope for with an episode, and I haven't seen one do it like this in a long time, to be honest.
Yeah. And I know we had some concerns like, are they going to stick the landing? We are 2 episodes away. But I will say, every episode that passes gives me more confidence that they will.
Hot take:
Give it to me.
crash and burn at this point to fail. I think.
Okay,
But
if
you have to crash,
you would have
burn,
to, you would have
fail.
to warp core ejector breach explode for
Right?
this to fail.
Like this could be a crash landing, not pretty. I'm talking like
If this crash lands, if episode 10 doesn't leave me like, ooh, I'm excited for season 2, I will be so angry. Because up until this point, I will go on record as saying I think this is the best first season any Star Trek show has ever had.
we're not going to talk about that this week. There's potential.
I know.
Hot take. They
There's
have to crash.
potential.
This has
But
to be a fiery crash.
I will be so angry if they fumble this.
Yeah. Let's just get to the meat of it because I don't want to be here for 5 hours. That's as much as I'd love to be here for 5 hours. The
Wait,
doc.
I will just say one thing in regards to Terima. Because this is one of the quotes. Because I know you're going to move on to the doctor.
Yeah, if you got some, let's sit on it. Go ahead.
My favorite scene was the scene between Terima and Genesis.
Ooh, okay. Good scene.
Because you see their friendship. They address it. Oh, they address the third, the triangle. She said, no, I'm just friends with Caleb. And then the single line that hit me, and this shows Genesis's leadership capabilities.
I think I know which one you're talking about now. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And with all the stuff that's going on in my life right now, I had to pause the episode, and Teresa and I are just looking at each other. And we talked about it for 5. We stopped in the middle of this because to me, this is another sign that the universe is speaking to me in this instance. And I know I'm being super vague. The line that hit me was when Genesis told Terima, you are just on your way to the next you.
Oh, that line. Oh, okay. No,
that stopped me in my tracks. Because to be vague, my 2025 was the worst year of my life.
Year of hell, aka shout out Voyager.
AKA year of hell. All of a sudden, And all of a sudden, and I have a good segue, all of a sudden, we start out 2026 speaking truth to power and visualizing and saying, we are going to make 2026 our year. And everything, the universe is saying, this is your time. And I'm seeing the signs. My sister told me after my dad died that night, she says, you need to stop and pause and recognize when a sign is being given to you from the universe or God or whatever. And man, I'm seeing those signs. And I'm pushing through. And because 2026 for me personally is my next phase of life.
So, in the words of the episode, I want to say it's more so you are recognizing that, let's call them stops. These who you are stops. I think that's one of the things the episode tries to convey. Because I think we as people, as a society, we like to get comfortable. This is who I am.
Right.
I am A, B, C, D, E. I do E, F, G. Every day, every week. We like routine. We like patterns. We like that comfortability. Life is not that. You are not who we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. For you, 40 years ago. I haven't made it that far yet, but
yeah.
But so I think it's beautiful. Like you are at the period where okay, I see my next who I am stop
With crystal clear.
And so I'm coming up on it. I'm almost there, and not saying that that's what's going to be forever or what, but you realize, okay, hopefully I can stop here and get comfortable for whatever phase of life it may be, and enjoy it until that next period of time, or even in the words of the episode, realizing that this next stop is simply day zero of me now starting the path to whatever next stop it is further down the line. But understanding that's how life works, you're never stopped. It is constant evolution and moving. And we need to know that now more so than ever, because as we're getting to the big picture now, we'll get back to the nitty gritties. But as was it Ake or whatever? But it is those things. Okay, let's move to the doctor.
No, so here's my transition. Here's my transition.
Yes,
to get into what I know you want to talk about. I have never in my life felt this is the longest week. This week, even though there's the same number of hours and minutes in a day, this week felt like I was on cask and 5 months have passed this week. I'm going to say this episode at this point of time in my life hit doubly hard. And let's get into it. There's your transition.
All right, let's talk about the doctor and
of course
Sam at the same time. Again, Carice is the breakout star of this show.
100%.
Easy. Like
my favorite. When Tilly says favorite, that's same.
Yeah, like Sam.
You, me, same. Yep.
The work that they're doing with Sam is just again, as we have said through multiple reviews, Star Trek works best when it knows its other, and Sam is a great representation of the other.
Sam is the Data, the Spock, the Doctor. In the line of the others that we've had, Sam is the other, and I love him for it.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's great. It's working again. Like her performance and the range of stuff that she is doing.
I can't wait to see where all these actors go when I am an old man. Because, yeah,
I'm looking forward with Sam specifically now.
Yes,
because of what we know she now is. What's the differences we're going to see in? Because it's crystal clear. It's a new Sam, and again, as the show says, like you're constantly evolving. So we are crystal clear. The Sam we're going to get next week, the Sam who came back, is a different Sam.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what Carice does to show us. Like I'm because even at the end of this episode, the handshake with Occam, it was awkward. It wasn't
the same.
It was awkward as a mug, and you see like she didn't know. Like Occam came in like, okay, I'm about to do my thing. And she's like, It wasn't, and that was her favorite one. That was the one she loved.
She said, that's my favorite.
Yep.
And now she messed up the favorite because the makers said that she has all of the memories, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as integrated. And we're seeing that. That's the show, not tell.
Well, you had the, what was it, 209 days that she was... And now, but now we know she has 17 years of more memories, though,
And
with the
people
doctor.
for can you remember a specific set of 209 days in your life?
That was literally almost to her. It's a whole life, as the doctor's reference, that's a whole lifetime ago. And at this point, it's for her 17 years ago. Oh, like that's so. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's a fascinating concept.
It really is.
But the doctor.
I wasn't expecting to cry this week.
Neither was I, and I did
Bruh.
it twice. And I did it twice, and here's the reason. I said on our Voyager retrospective, the Doctor is my favorite character.
Man, when they hit that opener, I was like, oh, and I was like, I know Eric gonna love this opener. I know Eric gonna love this.
The best thing they could have done, and not only with Prodigy, but with Starfleet Academy, is bring Robert Picardo back. I have been the happiest Trekkie because you've got my favorite character of Voyager, probably maybe in the entire franchise, and now you have Robert Picardo, who is a master class actor, and this is it. Was I expecting them to reference real life? No way in hell.
We knew there was some past trauma. We assumed it was either A coming from
It was a
the
past
Voyager
trauma
crew
we already
or
saw.
Prodigy.
And it wasn't. People think of that as a throwaway episode.
Well,
Almost.
yes, in a way. Because again, I saw another tweet. Somebody was like, well, "This is a Doctor episode," and they're just disregarding everything that happened in Voyager and stuff like that. I'm like, "There's no way you watched this episode and thought that."
Nope.
And then also, again, let's remember, Voyager itself did that every week. That was the air. Remember, we talk about Deep Space Nine like it's the creme de la creme. One, because it is, but two, because it's such an abnormality of the time. It was transcending of the time. You didn't do
Yeah.
that type of storytelling of the time. So yes, the majority of Trek has been adventure, cool, and then we never touch it again. And in fact, one of the things people have been asking for lately is, hey, let's get more episodic. Do you know what episodic means? That's literally what one week in, and another week it is what and then people on the other side are like, well, okay, yeah, you have these things, and then we never saw any consequences or repercussions. I love that here. It's like, yes, pick a one-off thing that, yes, we never saw any consequences or repercussions for, because that was the style of TV back in the day.
And now you're incorporating it in a way that brings it into here. And I was like, and I love that they're able to use non-HD footage by putting it as memories.
Beautiful incorporation. Beautiful incorporation.
I was blown away. Again, that was the second time that I had to pause, because when Robert Picardo broke, I broke. Because it all relates to loss. And I lost my dad, and it is still raw. And this is the second quote because it tied into this week and this time in my life. It was 800 years ago. It was yesterday. The writers.
That's how it is.
The
That's
writers
how it is.
are. I'm sorry for pronouncing her name. Gaia Vialo, who's the creator of she's the co-series creator, and Jan Meggs. Okay, so Violo created or wrote Kids These Days and Vox in Excelso.
Okay.
And Jan Meggs, this is her second writing credit because she did Beta Test. And now you've got the two of them coming together for this episode. Get out of here. This is the best.
I've heard some other interviews that how much they're talking about, like Kristen Bayer being there, like helping them out, Tawny's like, so there's really
because it's the writer's room.
This room is talking to one another and helping each other out, and you can see the effects of that.
This is the evolution that I think I wish we had more of this type of collaboration in the writer's room more during Discovery and Strange New Worlds.
Yes, yes, but I don't. Again, bigger pictures, full series,
Yes,
full
sure.
season review when we get to it. Yes, there were some limitations, but again, but no, but yes, that
Whatever.
that concept there though, with
Yes.
the doctor man, yes, like I just it was just a slow
And
tear. I
then
just realized like
and
oh
then they referenced another Doctor episode where the time passes.
in the shuttle.
It is insane how they're making these connections.
First of all, the pairing of Doctor and Sam, as we said, we called it. I love
We called
how
it.
we just get it going in that shuttle. She's calling them out. You see Ake sitting there, real like, what? Like it,
Dude, what is your
that
problem?
dynamic.
And then and then hold my hand. I am reaching out to you and he doesn't and she's crying
That's
and
literally the thing that kills her.
it's the thing that kills her. And the doctor made the same mistake that he did 800 years ago.
Literally the
Time
thing.
is a flat circle.
And then they actually killed. Like I was like, oh, we killing Sam.
Yep.
Which at the point, because like I said, you don't know. Like I was like, okay, glad to see they didn't kill Sam, but like there was a great scene. Yeah, that I have quite the way they brought in the doctor's story and what has been the source of this trauma
Yes.
raises questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because now I'm like, okay, cool. If this is the source, an early Voyager episode is the source that we now have to use as context for things going forward or how you lived your life going forward. You're sitting here trying to tell me that the doctor, because of this experience, closed himself off to everybody to an extent, including the Voyager family and the Prodigy family. I need to know how he handled, because we all assumed part of it was from the fact
Right.
that, okay, yep, you have lived so long, as we hear old people talk about, essentially, if you live long enough, you're the last one left. That's the doctor in a way. You Prodigy crew, Voyager crew, you outlived them both. We figured that pain of loss, because we knew it came from there. We figured that was the source, but the source is early in Voyager. That's an early Voyager episode.
So here's what I think happened. If this whole episode deals with trauma, so I think when that very traumatic experience happened with the doctor early on in Voyager, he literally buried it because it was so painful, he just buried it away like we do. And then, because that's early on in his life, so he instantly buried it because it would have broke him. Then, living 7 years with the Voyager crew, living however they did with the Prodigy. Again, in the span of 800 years, very, very early in his life. And just like I'm experiencing the older I get, the more that you deal with loss, I think he had literally hundreds of years to reflect, and he recognized his trauma about in this unseen span of time of 600 years that we don't know about or whatever. At some point in his life, I can see this happening, and that's the beauty about Star Trek. You can fill in with your own headcanon until they tell you otherwise. So, in my view, I think what happened is slowly as everyone from Voyager died, slowly as everyone from Prodigy died, now you're reaching the like his
Your old man.
your old
Now.
man. So now his defense mechanism was to not make attachments. And now he's finally dealing with recognizing it because Nala Ake kept pushing him. And here we go with another. So he automatically put a wall, like he said in the episode. You reminded me of my daughter that was very early on in my life.
Spot on 1-to-1 almost versus anybody else wasn't putting that memory in his mind like that necessarily. She
And now
tapped that. Yeah.
all it makes me do with this knowledge, I just want to rewatch the whole season again.
There's there's so much. There's so
There are so many layers.
there's so many layers. And again, like that's this is one of those episodes like I if you're old Trekkie and not into this show, you're missing out. Like because
You're missing out.
this episode did a beautiful job of just capturing that the generational viewpoints, generation how different generations are dealing with the same forms of trauma almost in a way. How different generations are approaching where we are. Like this is Trek doing what Trek does in the ways that Trek does it. Theater, plays, allegories, metaphors, smacking you directly over the head with it. Like
This is Star Trek at its core.
yes. This is there's no way you don't call this Trek. There's no way.
And
It's no.
and I know we go out on we still have one more season of this show to go. And with certain real life things at that as this is happening, this could very well be the last new Star Trek show. And if it is, what a way to go out on.
It's
I'm
going
just
to-
I'm just
there's
trying to think of the future.
I know I hear you with yeah yeah there's gonna be some interesting reflections we might talk about on another day
For sure.
with that but no because I actually with this episode I've heard some interviews and read some interviews with some of the showrunners and producers and writers about we're getting some tidbits about season 2 which I hate but anywho it sounds
You
like
got to
season
link me to whatever interviews because I don't know. Do you want me to stay spoiler free or I don't know?
it's I mean it's not necessarily spoilers but it's like one of the questions was asked okay we know season 2 was what because they literally just
They literally
they
just
wrapped
wrapped
up
it.
season 2 this
Yeah.
week so that's why we're getting some news about it but like season 2 is not it was not left off in a series finale type of way so it's not like
Yeah.
but you know or you know and there are some different
Because
ways of doing
originally one of the plans was if
Yeah.
Starfleet Academy continues, we see them from freshmen to
yeah
seniors.
as long as they end on a note like Prodigy I'll be okay but
Yeah, yeah.
anywho this episode here is just like I've seen everything from like school shootings, parent deaths,
Man.
try every like again. That's why I kind of wanted to give that disclaimer. I don't know what this episode brought up for you, listener. I don't know for me but I think the beautiful. Let's talk about the main theme here. That beautiful point as they talked about like you got to get up.
Yep.
Like that beautiful point that because as again the beauty in the production aspect of this episode were literally so when they get to Cask and all of a sudden it's black and white and literally just before that the doctor is talking about his own interpretation of some of the things from the play and so then literally
Yeah.
that becomes the play and so you know talking about how the play is structured so that it only gets colorful on these moments that become memories with nostalgia and then that becomes that becomes the production
many
it's
layers.
like my God, but then it really turns into the big wrapping point because I know I'm blabbing at this point. The whole like yes, it is the minute things that matter because as the doctor opened up in his log, everything is minute to me now. I've seen 800 years of sunrises and like I've been here, nothing's it's all minute. To then yes, it is those minute things that matter and at this stage of life that I'm in.
Yep.
Yes, it's like say for example, it's like my son is 7. As somebody once told me about being a parent, you never know when the last time you'll do something is. And
Yeah.
so as a parent, especially as a father and all those type, it's just trying to be present for my child all the time. Like just in a way of being present with them in the moment of because that's important to them. You know, when he's like, "Daddy, can I show you something? Daddy, can you look at this?" I try. And there are days when I fail horribly.
Yes. Same.
There
same.
are days I fail horribly, but I try to be present for those minute things. Yeah, you want to show me a commercial on YouTube? Sure.
Yeah.
You got a
And
crazy idea?
there,
Sure.
there was an example of that even tonight when we were eating dinner and we were just kind of having that family moment before we do this. RJ was playing with his cars and he said something and we're like, wait, can you repeat that? Because I mean, sometimes it's just like he's almost 4. Like we're still
You're about, yeah, yeah. I know
and,
exactly where you're at. Yep.
and so he was playing with his cars and he said Rocket League, and I'm like, do you want me to play Rocket League? He's like, yes, because it has cars. And so I stopped any plan that I was doing, and I'm like, here, I'm playing Rocket League for you because you wanted to see Daddy playing cars.
Because it's like that line. Because Tarima and her, again, I love how at the end, I love how this episode did something we haven't seen before. Was the log essentially got narrated by different people throughout the episode. The doctor opened it up, and then you kind of get almost in that state in the stage manager way. We get different voices of the stage manager. What Tarima's portion, and she brings up that whole, as humans, are we aware? Are we aware of time? Are we? And as a again, just in the space that I am right now, as a like, no, but then also yes, and I'm trying to be aware of it as much as possible because one of the most beautiful moments about the Doctor's story was, yeah, you got the chance to spend 17 years. You got to go
Yeah.
back and do this.
And man,
You
that
got to go back.
was. You'll be damn sure that during that montage, I was shedding some tears.
Oh, because even now it's just like there are times even he's only 7, and I'm already like, oh, I miss like
I
the
know,
scene, the
man.
scene where it's they where they, because you brought this up, where she asked for the hand earlier, didn't happen, and they focus on the scene where they're walking in the garden and you see with the little hand grabbing the finger, not even big enough to grab the whole hand, just grab the finger. Man, I miss the feeling of that little hand just grabbing my finger. His hand ain't that little no more. It's big. It's a
Yep.
toddler hand. So he's only 7, and I missed that. And so it's just like I'm like, oh no, no, like no, I'm
You
trying to hold
you
on to
you are
this.
basically you are my mentor for fatherhood. You're one of my friends who has kids that are slightly older
Just
than
ahead of
my
you on the
son.
road a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm glad I have many friends that are dads that are a little later that I can go to advice to. Let me tell you that.
that one got me because I'm like, oh, because it was funny. He was laying on my lap on his tablet just watching it, and so I just happened to look, and I'm like, oh yeah, the hand ain't small no more. Yeah, man, there's yeah,
Yeah.
this level is just, this episode is just ugh.
It's awesome. It's
Again,
great.
it's great. It's good. Again, there's a lot of stuff to wax on here, and I'm
Yes.
looking forward to doing it. I think when we have the bigger picture, but
Yes.
yeah, because yeah, just so we're not here all night, and because it's only one episode. Um,
It's good.
final thoughts, sir. Final thoughts on this one. Yeah. Or
Look,
just
look,
anything we might not have touched because yeah, there's so damn much.
I, I, I think, I really appreciated this episode, and again, I think it hit me hard because I'm dealing with all of these issues right now, and I think that in my experience with Star Trek, I've been a Star Trek fan since I was 5. I every time I rewatch an episode that I remember but I haven't seen in years, I reflect on it and it gives me different meaning the older I get. And I think that is why Star Trek is in 60 years, because this franchise is timeless. And I think anyone can rewatch any episode at any point of their life and get something different from it. An episode that you may have hated 10 years ago, give it a rewatch because you might find something that is different. Don't rely on your memories because you change, your perspectives change, and you're going to forget And if you rewatch something, you can discover something new. And that's all I'll say. Because if I watch real life again with this context, I'm gonna lose it.
Go
So
pressure.
I'm not gonna do a recent rewatch, but I'm like, cool, because I can't deal with that extra
I
emotion
wanted
right
to check
now.
it out before tonight. I just didn't get the chance to because
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
like the visitor. I wanted to sit and watch
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts for you.
I'll go with this one. The overall message.
Yeah.
Just that you have to keep getting back up.
Yep. Yep.
I think as a whole, just we need that now more than ever because we are in the process of getting beat down a bit.
Yep.
And there's more beating to come.
Yep.
And little cynical here. Some of y'all not used to that beating. Hell, I'm not used to the beating.
Yep.
I've heard about the beating and maybe more conditioned to understanding that that beating is possible.
For
Uh,
sure. And how and now I know I'm because I am in an interracial marriage. The fear of beating is closer
yeah,
to my home than
yeah,
some of other people of my skin color. So
yeah,
I recognize the signs, and I am
yeah,
afraid. I'm afraid for RJ's future, just as I'm sure you're afraid for the future of kids.
yeah.
But just like this episode, if this past week has taught me anything, never get up, never give up, and fight for what you deserve and fight for what makes you happy.
Facts. And I hope the younger generation sees themselves in this. I hope they
I hope so
hear
too.
heard because I think as I think it was Ake. I think it was 2 points that happened in this episode. Ake, I think early in that conversation between Tilly and Jet Reno and the makers on Cask admitted, oh, this wasn't just one side.
Yeah.
We messed up here. Yes, younger generations, us older generations, not necessarily us, but the ones behind us, for sure messed up.
Yeah.
They messed up. It's not necessarily all their fault though. World has changed. Our generations have taken some beatings.
Yeah.
We've grown up in a world where like the joke is with millennials, it's just beating after beating, 9/11 war, like it's just beating after beating and
I just want a win. I
right,
just want something to
right.
not go the disaster route, the worst case scenario that people say, hey, if this happens, it's going to be bad.
Right.
And then
It's
that happens. I'm like,
yeah.
great, it keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
When's it going to stop?
The world has changed. These newer generations, they're getting beat down. It's just like what is ahead? Nobody knows. We don't even know what to expect anymore. So I hope again, people find your thing in this, but the message, no matter what, get back up. And it doesn't have to be big things. Like it's the minute things. Listen, I'm thankful I don't struggle with these issues in my head,
Yep.
but a lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
A lot of people have lost friends, close ones, relatives, whatever, to people who just felt like they could not get back up.
Yeah.
It's never that bad. You are just on the journey to your next you. And it gets rough sometimes. It does. It this life is going to beat you up. I'm coaching a little league right now, and it's like they get the game messes them up because like, and it's one of the things I try to tell them. Hey, this is a game. You will make mistakes, more so than you probably get it right. It's how you respond to it,
Yeah.
and that to me, that is the message of this episode. Please, whether it's something that you feel is minute in your life, get back up.
Yep.
We taking beatings outside. We got to get
Back.
back up. And that's the message I will. And then and when I know and then when I need some of that inspiration, this is a message. This is an episode I will probably come to because yeah, there are times where we're high right now. We're good.
Yep.
There will be some valleys where Eric might have to be like, "Yo, Jay, get back up." Or I'm gonna be like, "Yo, Eric, get back up."
Yep.
Life is gonna happen. So for me, for this episode specifically, yeah, that message. Yeah,
This is one for the ages.
yeah. Do we possibly have a season with 3? top tier episodes of all time. Further discussions coming, and once we get to Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I cannot wait because yeah, as long as this doesn't become a fireball, crash and burn. Like I'm talking, like no survivors. Like they could crash. Plane is in flames. As long as somebody is climbing out of that plane alive, it could be a success. Because they've done like they've got to fail hard to. I think because I'm not gonna lie. Last week I was feeling a little down. Last week
Yeah.
was a little like oh, this week I was like whoa yeah oh, yeah we back up let's go land this plane.
Keep pushing forward.
Star Trek from 60,000 light years. We appreciate any time you have spent with us on our review right now of Star Trek.
Live long
Starfleet
and
Academy.
prosper.
That's right. Rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. Like, share, subscribe, join our crew. Our normal duties, we go through every iteration of Star Trek series by series. You can check those all out. We've got a playlist for you. It might pop up in just a couple seconds, but it's right there. Check it out again. Join our crew. Hey, we just enjoy good Trek, and we're enjoying Starfleet Academy right now. We look forward to spending more time with you, sir. Next week, it's already episode 9. Wow, cannot believe it.
Time is a flat circle. It goes quick, but also slow at the same time. Good night, everyone.